Hello everybody, this is Tip Top MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, we are going to be looking at some spoilers from Core Set 2020. So these are all the spoilers that have come out today, so we're going to go over all of them. Of course, if there are any released later today, they will be in tomorrow's video. So why don't we just break down these cards. Starting off, we have Revitalize. This is a 2-cost white instant, and it says you gain 3 life, draw a card, and it was last reprinted in Core Set 2019. It's a pretty generic card that won't really see any play in Standard, but could be nice and limited. Just pretty nice card. Next, we have a Basri's Acolyte. We saw this in a leak, but I'm still going to go over it. It's a 4-cost white creature cat cleric with 2/3 with lifelink, and it says when it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures you control. So essentially, you're getting a 4/5 for 4 with lifelink, but you do have to have those other creatures in order to actually get the power from that. Not bad for a common. Next, we have Basri's Celerity. It's a 2-cost sorcery, a white sorcery, and it says put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. For 2, you can put like 100 counters on things if you have 100 creatures. It's a nice little boost. If you can find some way to loop this or keep doing it, it could be pretty fun, like some janky deck. Next, we have Selfless Rescue Dog. This was a translated card. The name will probably end up being slightly different. It's a 1-cost 1/1 creature dog, and it says sacrifice it. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. So, yep, you're just going to... It's kind of Benelish Marshall. No. Sorry, this is like Resolute Watchdog, except you don't have to pay mana to activate the ability. Next, we have Angelic Ascension. It's a 2-cost white instant, and it says exile target creature or planeswalker. Its controller creates a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. So this is kind of similar to Beast Within and Generous Gift, where you're destroying something and then giving your opponent something. So this is a 2-cost exile target creature planeswalker, but then they get a 4/4 white angel. And because it has flying, I don't know how good this card really is. If you're playing a lot of flyers, I'm sure this card is pretty good. So I could see this fitting into a Azorius Flyers deck. You can also use this as a 2-cost sacrifice a creature, basically create a 4/4, because you can target your own stuff. So there's probably some things you could do here in like an Azorius Flyers deck. Next, we have Faith's Fetters. So on the right, you can see the Core Set 2021 version, but it is a reprint from Mystery Booster and Ultimate Masters before that. It's a 4-cost enchantment aura, and it says enchant permanent. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life, and enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Just note, this says enchant permanent, not enchant creature, so if they have some artifact that's tapping for 5 mana, I mean, actually, that's a bad example, like, you can't get rid of mana abilities. Okay, you could put this on a planeswalker, and they wouldn't be able to activate their loyalty abilities, for instance, so this can go on more than just creatures. Next, we have... by the way, I think it's going to be pretty good and see some play, and it'll be especially good in Limited. Either way, Siege Striker is a 3-cost creature human soldier, 1/1 with double strike, which is kind of risky. Double strike can be scary, especially in a Standard with lots of combat tricks. And it says, when it attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control that it gets +1/+1 for each creature tapped this way. So if you can guarantee he gets through, it's pretty good because he has double strike, so he's basically, if you have a bunch of 1/1s, you're tapping them and gaining 2 power or 2 attack basically. Or if you have a way to guarantee he gets through, but you can only guarantee 1 creature gets through, he can kind of get a boost from all your other creatures. So pretty good. I'm not like something that would be see play in Constructed, but still pretty good. Next, we have Basri's Lieutenant. It's a 4-cost creature human knight, 3/4 with vigilance and protection from multicolored. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and whenever it or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. So pretty good. Having protection from multicolors protects it from Teferi's Bounce. It does a lot of stuff there. On top of it, you are basically like saying, hey, you kill my creatures, they're going to come back as white knight creatures. Pretty good. Honestly, might see some play in some Standard deck, maybe, if it can figure out a deck to fit into. Next, we have Basri Ket. It's a 3-cost legendary Planeswalker Basri. We already went over this. It's a pretty complicated card, so if you want to check that out, check out my first leaks video. I talked about it there. Overall, I think it's going to be pretty good. That's my general consensus on the card. Could fit well in a Winota or Life Gain deck, or like a white Swarm deck. Next, we have Tide Skimmer. It's a 4-cost creature Drake, 2/3 with flying, and whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures with flying, draw a card. So more Azorius Flyers support. It seems like that's going to be the limited theme of the set, kind of like all the other sets. So, yeah, I guess it's okay. Next, we have See the Truth. It's a 2-cost sorcery, and it says look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest of them on the bottom of your library in any order. So this is Anticipate at sorcery speed. But then if you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, instead put all of them into your hand. So you're basically either going to pick one or pick all 3. So if you can cast from your graveyard using something like Chandra, the 3-cost one, or you use Vadrock from Ikoria, you can kind of recast this from your graveyard. Or like Bolas' Citadel lets you cast from the top of your library. All these things will let you do a lot of cool stuff. Next, we have Village Rites. It's a 1-cost black instant. It says as an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature, and lets you draw 2 cards. Now, honestly, I would not be surprised if this ends up being a, 2 of in a Black Rakdos sacrifice deck. Oh, you're going to kill my creature, I'm going to sacrifice it, draw 2 cards. Oh, I'm going to steal your creature, sacrifice it, draw 2 cards. And they're also going to get a bunch of sacrifice triggers off of it. I don't know if that will really happen, but I think it's possible. I think this is a direct upgrade from a couple of cards we have in Standard. Next, we have Pestilent Haze. It's a 3-cost sorcery, and it says choose one. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn, or remove 2 loyalty counters from each planeswalker. So you're either going to deal 2 damage temporarily to all creatures, or 2 damage to each planeswalker, essentially. Pretty good card. I don't know if it's really going to see play, but we do have another mini sweeper here, so pretty good. Next, we have Massacre Worm. Similarly, when it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn, and whatever creature an opponent controlled dies, that player loses 2 life. It's also a 6-cost, a triple black for Devotion creature worm. Pretty good. I know a lot of people are excited about this reprint. Next, we have Chandra's Magmut. It's a 2-cost red creature elemental dog. Tap Chandra's Magmut, deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. It's a 2/2. It fits in both an elemental and a dog deck, so pretty decent. You'll also notice that this synergizes with the rest of the Chandra cards. The next one being Chandra's Pyroling, 2-cost creature elemental lizard 1/3. It does have 1 power, which means it is a contender for the Cavalcade of Calamities deck, although that's kind of sorted out of favor, or moved out of favor. But it says whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, it gets +1/+0 and gains double strike until end of turn. So basically what this means is Cavalcade is coming back, I think. Cards like this, and this is not the only one that cares about non-combat damage, are really good with Cavalcade, because he's going to swing. His Cavalcade trigger is going to give him +1, and then he's going to get double strike. So you essentially have a 2/3 double striker for 2 if you have Cavalcade out. So, yeah, that's crazy. Next, we have Bolt Hound. This is a 3-cost creature elemental dog, 2/2, with haste, and when it attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Not bad, honestly. Gets around, if you're going to throw this in a Cavalcade deck, you probably won't, but because it doesn't trigger it, but it does allow all your 1/1s to actually hit for 2 on top of the Cavalcade trigger, so pretty cool, but I don't think it's going to see any play. Next, we have Leaping Augur. It's a 4-cost creature human shaman with trample, and it says its power is equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So another, enabler. Whenever Leaping Augur enters the battlefield, it discard 2 cards and then draw that many cards. So discard up to 2 cards. So you can just choose to discard none. You can choose to discard 2. You can choose to discard 1. If you can't discard 2, you do draw as many as you discarded. So pretty interesting card. I don't think it's going to really see any play, except for the fact that, you can, when it enters the battlefield, you're discarding 2 cards, so that could be 2 instants and sorceries. So maybe it fits in some weird deck. Next, we have Chandra's Incinerator. It's a 6-cost creature elemental 6/6. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. Trample. Whenever a source deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that player controls. This might bring back Cavalcade. Now, I know it's not a 1-something, and I know Cavalcade likes that, but swing with 5 creatures, this is a 1-cost 6/6 trampler that also makes it so Cavalcade now hits creatures and planeswalkers in addition to players. I think this could come back. I don't know if it's going to be as powerful as it was before, but this is playing with fire, or should I say elementals. Yeah. Next, we have Chandra Heart of Fire. I broke this down in another video, but here is the nice big art of it. Looks pretty good. Next, we have Cultivate. I am against this card being in standard. No, I mean, like, I think that my thought is ramp doesn't need more help. Even if there's a chance that this goes in a ramp deck, even if you're like, oh, it's too slow, it's not going to be in a ramp deck. You know, there have been cards, you know, when I first look at them, they're like, meh, that's awful. But then, you know, they find that right deck. And right now, ramp is running rampant. And I don't think they need another card, like Cultivate, to ramp them. I think it's just, you know, throw this in Commander Legends, not Core Set 2021. I just want you to look how many of these cards are really Commander cards, and also how many of them have been recently reprinted in Master sets. That can just show you the power level. Either way, Elder Gargith is a 5-cost creature beast 6/6. It's a mythic with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. And whenever it attacks, choose one. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token, gain 3 life, or draw a card. All of those are insane. Okay, first off, you're getting a 6/6 Vigilance, so it's going to be able to attack. Reach, it's going to be able to block anything. And Trample, they can't just keep chump blocking it. Here, whenever he's attacking or blocking, so you get to attack with him, and then if they try to swing back at you, you can block with it. You can draw a card, insane, gain 3 life if you're low on health because they're attacking you, or create a 3/3 green beast creature token if you need a blocker. I mean, obviously, if they're blocking already and you already declared blockers, you can't block with that beast. But if you're attacking, then you create a 3/3 green beast. The card, it kind of reminds me of Questing Beast, except this one is a 5 mana 6/6 on top of all these other you know, word soup. It's just all kind of very random. It's all just green good stuff. So yeah, I could see this seeing play. Next, we have a Lore Scale Codal. It's a 3-cost Simic creature snake, and whenever you draw a card, put a counter on it. It's a 2/2. Like Simic needed that. Simic already draws tons of cards, mixes with Growth Spiral, and you have a... I just don't think Simic needed this. It was last reprinted in Masters 25. I'm not saying this is going to see play, but it concerns me that this uncommon multicolored is all about drawing cards. That makes me think Simic is going to want to draw cards in this set, which is concerning because Simic is already really good. Next, we have not Iconic Masters, that's where this was last reprinted. Radiant Fountain, it's a land. It says when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life, and you can tap it for colorless. Last seen in Iconic Masters. I'm excited about this. I recently, you know, I'm in Historic, I play mono white life gain, and more recently Artifact creatures. And so this will definitely slot into that deck and be pretty good. Last reprinted in Iconic Masters. Next, we have Plains. This one is just in here because, I mean, it's not a new card, but the styling is new. It's an Amonkhet-based Basri basic land, so I thought it looked pretty cool. New styling, so thought I'd show it off here. Next, we have Solemn Simulacrum. This is the full art version. This is, when it enters the battlefield, it's a 4-cost colorless artifact creature golem 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap it, then shuffle your library, and when it dies, draw a card. This is kind of a staple in Commander. I'm not saying it's a great card, but it does see a lot of play in Commander. I don't really think it's going to see that much play in Standard, which I think is why they're reprinting it here, but it did last see a reprint in Commander 2020. If it does see a place in Constructed, I could see it maybe being in a Thassa Flicker deck that can flicker it to just keep ramping, but that's just, you know, one little thing it could maybe do. Next, that's it. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys thought of all these cards in the comments down below. Are some of them too powerful? Am I misjudging any? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.